Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm.
Hi and hello. This video has been a long time coming. I promise you guys, this has been on my schedule for so long to update my video about how I plan, prepare, the things I bring for book events, and I just have not sat down to film it. I don't know why. It has just been like, I don't know. I just haven't been motivated to film this particular video, and I don't know if it's because probably because I don't actually have some of these items, and I have not brought some of these items to book events, but I plan to, so let's talk about it. First and foremost, if you are going to a book event as an author where books will be sold, you need to have stock of your books. I always order my books from Amazon, KDP. Let me restart a little bit. So I personally distribute my books through two different channels. I publish my books on Amazon KDP. I put them there. That is where I do pre-orders for the ebook only. Right now, I don't really do pre-orders for the paperback. I do if I have the paperback ready in time, but I don't typically prioritize it. So I really only do ebook pre-orders. So that is why I start with KDP. That is where I publish my books. I also publish my books through Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is a third-party distributor, which means that they publish your book and it goes to many different places. So I only do the paperback through Ingram Spark because my ebook is in Kindle Select or KDP Select, which is also Kindle Unlimited, which means that my book has to be ebook exclusive to Amazon. So my paperback version is the only thing that gets published through Ingram Spark, and through them they can publish it wide, which means Target, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all these other retailers, basically any retailer that could possibly sell books or would like to stock books can get my book. So that is where I publish all of my books. But when I do book events, if it is a book that has already been published, I exclusively order my author copies through KDP because they are cheaper than Ingram Spark. So I order books from Amazon. Make sure that you order far enough in advance because it may take you up to 2 weeks or more to get shipments to you. So make sure you're ordering out well in advance of your book event, because if you're like me and haven't done that, then you may either not have your books in time for the event and now you have a surplus of book stock, or you may be stressing about whether or not they will get there in time and have books show up the day of, an hour or two before the book event. And that is not a fun place mentally to be. It is very stressful. So books, you're going to want to order books. That's how I order my books and why. So if you publish or plan to publish similarly to me, you may want to consider ordering your books only through Amazon because it is cheaper. However, if I plan on bringing a book that will be published on or close to the day of the book event, then I order my book stock for that particular book from Ingram Spark, because Ingram Spark will allow you to get books without, for author copies, will allow you to get it without any kind of extra printing on the cover. They don't print anything extra on it. It will print exactly like it would for anyone else and get to you ahead of your release day if you are releasing your book close to that book event. So if you, back to making sure you have books in time for your event, if you have a book release really close to that date of the book event, you may want to consider ordering that particular book through Ingram Spark, because that way it can come to you without any of that like not for resale bar that Amazon does or anything else printed on it ahead of the book event. I hope that makes sense. Other things you may want to consider going to a book event, selling your own books, you need to be aware, one, of how you are going to do that. So a lot of book events may have a dedicated bookstore there that may handle your sales for you. That is an option. That means all you need to do is make sure that that bookseller is aware that your book will be processed through them. And that way you guys can figure out how much income you will be gaining and how much of a cut they will be taking, because usually the bookstore will also be taking a percentage of your sales as well. So the income that you make will be different than just what your book is priced at for events. However, a lot of book events will have you process your own sales, which means you will, one, need to know how you will be taking payments, and two, be very, very aware of local and state laws regarding sales tax, because, and I think sometimes we forget this, our books are products. They are products, just like anything else, just like anything on the shelf at Walmart, just like anything else. So you are required to remit sales tax and report that when you make sales, especially through yourself. Like that, you are handling the sales tax. So make sure you've looked up the guidelines in your state for that. You know how to remit that, and you are aware of that, because heaven forbid somebody comes after you down the road because you haven't paid sales tax through your business. Back to what I said before, how are you going to be taking sales? So I will explain how I do it. You could potentially only accept cash sales if you wanted, and then figure out sales tax and report it from there. Some people may want to do a combination of cash sales and card sales. I personally try not to do cash sales. I don't like to have extra cash on me. It just makes me a little uncomfortable to have it on me, because I'm typically traveling mostly alone or not with a lot of people, or I don't want cash being out and also books being out at an event where there may be a lot of people. So the way I do cash sales is I try to keep it exact cash only. So people purchasing books and wanting to purchase them with cash have to provide the exact cash to me, or as other people have maybe done that, maybe I have smaller bills that I can like break a 20, so to speak, and give them cash back. But that is really like on a case by case basis, because like I said, I try not to keep cash on me. So what I do instead is I try to prioritize card sales, and I use Square. Square is super easy to set up. You download the app on your phone. You can actually use Square without buying any additional equipment. You could do tap to pay using Square on your phone. As long as you have set it up with your bank information so that you can take payments, you can use tap to pay and not have to purchase anything. If you are a very first time Square user, you do get a free card reader, the teeny tiny one that you can plug into your phone for free for a first time Square user. That is what I did the very first time way back in the day. I got the free card reader. I went, signed up, checked that I was a new user, and they mailed it out to me, which was amazing. It just plugs right into your phone and automatically connects, so you can swipe a card instead of doing tap to pay. I love that. I had to upgrade mine recently for a book event because my phone changed. So it no longer had that old style jack. I needed the I forget what that's called, but I needed the new iPhone connection. So I had to buy a new card reader. And if you are somebody who's maybe set it up before and then didn't get on board with the card reader, so you don't have one, or maybe you need to purchase one, that card reader, let me just go grab it real quick. These card readers are so easy that I always have it on me because they're so teeny. So here it is. Like I said, you just swipe the card through there. It's super easy to use, and it plugs straight into your phone. And I mean, you can see it is so small. It is super easy for me to keep on me at all times, because occasionally I have friends or family or people out and about who who would like to have like a signed book and purchase one from me. And sometimes I have them on me or available, and I can take payments while out on the go because it's so teeny tiny. It's super convenient. It's not bulky to travel with. It's just really easy. So that would be my suggestion, because this was only $10 when I upgraded. So when I got the new phone, needed the new card reader, I went on to square.com, and it was only $10 to purchase a brand new card reader. So super nice, super easy to use. Like I said, it just connects automatically with the app when you plug it into your phone. I love it. Highly recommend this little doodad. I will say though, if you are taking card payments, be aware that there is the new Apple fee that has kicked in. So when you take payments via Square using these card readers, there is a small fee that will be taken out of whatever cost that you do via card. So if you want to kind of make up for that, you may want to consider increasing your price per item slightly. That way you can build that into the cost. Other things you may want to go ahead and set up in Square that are also very easy. In the app, under the settings, you can go ahead and set up sales tax. So you don't actually have to calculate what the sales tax will be added into the price. You can do that if you so wish, but if you go and set it up for the region, the city, whatever it is, ahead of time, the app will do it for you and charge it without you needing to do anything extra aside from click the item and swipe the card. Super nice, super easy. And like I said, it's a click of a button to add the sales tax, and it's super easy to take that back off if you're going between different states. So definitely look into it. I highly recommend Square. Other things to consider is, just like your home or your office at work, you want the space that you are working in to be inviting to other people. And so you also want your table to look inviting to other people, but professional. So think about your author branding. What is your theming? Do you have a particular font that is associated with you as an author? Do you have a particular color maybe, or vibes, whatever it is? Think about that, and you want your table to clearly reflect those things. So for me, Amy Prokopis branding has a particular font associated with it. I have a logo associated with my brand. It goes on the spine of all of my books, and there is sort of a vibe and color. Dark green, especially a dark green gradient, is associated with all of my branding. It is my branding, as well as neon white to be particular. So it is all over my Instagram. It's all over all of my pages. It's at the very top in my banner on my YouTube channel here on YouTube. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments below if you have an author branding, what that looks like, and if not, how you might go about developing that. There are also videos on YouTube for that. So consider that when you pick up decor. You don't want to just pick up things you find cute or fun, because some of them may not go together. So do pick up things that reflect you, so things you gravitate towards, but also make sure that they reflect you as an author and they reflect the general vibes of your book. Because one, if you are at a really big author event, you may be in a room with tons of other people. And so people walking past that may want to stop at your booth, or who are taking in the room, they need to be able to know exactly what they're looking at in less than a few seconds. So they need to be able to look at your table and see, one, what genre you write. They need to get the vibe of that immediately, because they'll decide whether or not you are for them in a second. And two, you need your table to look professional and inviting to then encourage people to approach you. So make sure you're thinking about branding when you're collecting table decor, which brings us to the next part, marketing. Yes, like I just said, people may be in a gigantic room, there's a sea of them, and they need to be able to know in like a second what you write and if your books are going to be for them. And there are many ways to do this. Like I just said, your table decor can scream the genre immediately and be really welcoming, inviting to people to walk up to you. Other things you can do are have marketing items available on your table. I did this at my most recent event. I will say, I think I will scale back some of those elements because I think I had too many of them on my table. So I am since changing some of those things, and we'll go into that a little bit later in this video. But some ways you could do this are getting acrylic table signs, and you could put, if you have a very few amount of books or maybe a really lengthy series, you could put tropes. Print out a really nice graphic that has all the tropes in my book and stick that on your table in a nice acrylic display item because they're really cheap to get. You can get a whole bunch of them bulk on Amazon for like $20 or less, and they're super easy to travel with because they're light. You can usually take them apart pretty easy from the stand, and they store very easily in whatever you may be traveling with, which comes in play later. We'll talk about travel and some hacks for those things to consider. So marketing does come into play. Even though you're at this book event and you're meeting your fans, people need to be able to see clearly what you're all about. Other ways to do this that I will be incorporating very soon into my table that can also be a part of your table decor is table runners. Some events will provide a tablecloth for you and a table and some chairs. Make sure when you sign up for an event, you pay attention to that because some events will not provide that. So you may need to purchase a folding table, some folding chairs, and a tablecloth to provide for that event. You may not for some events. Just be aware of this. So you may want to go ahead and get some of those items, or if you have them on hand, make sure that they are available to you so that if you do go to an event where they announce they won't have these items, you already have them ready to go and you're not scrambling around to find a table before you get there. Some other things, like I said, a table runner, you can get these from places like Custom Ink. I am purchasing mine from Vistaprint. You can put your name on it clearly. Anything with your author branding, again, considering your author branding. Also, I would be very hesitant with some of the information that you put on things like a table runner because one, they can be pricey to purchase and have printed. And you need to make sure that one, people can see it from a distance. So don't make it too busy. I wouldn't put any more than like your name on it, maybe 2 items of other elements. So for me, that might be my little neon border, my name, and then maybe like a very short description of what I write. Amy Prokopis, romantasy and paranormal romance author, or something really, really short and simple. Short enough that you can still make it big enough for people to see across a busy room, which brings me to the next item that you may want to consider purchasing, which also can be quite pricey. Sometimes in big groups, people can't see your table runner because it's below everybody, right? It's like at everyone's waist. Some other items you might purchase that could be great big and draw a lot of attention, give off vibes very quickly, and also display your name and your books. Maybe retractable banners. They make them in various sizes. If you look up any author event, you're going to see these. They're extremely common. They're kind of staples there. They're staples at a lot of market events, but you can get them in any size. They retract into a base, and so they're really easy to travel with because they're not very big. And they're very visible because, like I said, you can get them at any height, at any size. They're easy to see, they're eye-catching, and they can add a lot to your table decor as well. So if you don't want to invest a lot in table decor to travel with and you want to keep things simple, what I would do and what I'm planning to do is stick with a table runner and a retractable banner, or something I saw recently that I would really like to have for my own tables would be a great big banner, kind of, what do they call those? I may have to look them up. Maybe I'll put an image in here somewhere, but a great big banner that you can put up behind you like a backdrop. That's what it is. Holy moly, a backdrop. The same places I mentioned before, like Custom Ink, Vistaprint can print these for you and often come with the complete setup And they also fold into little nylon bags that are easy to travel with, that I believe you can even take on airplanes when you travel further away from your state. So those are great. They're huge. They make really great backdrops for your entire table, and they very clearly can depict what you are all about. Just like the table runner though, with these items, make sure you keep it simple over complicated. You don't want too many elements, because if people are just walking by in a great big room of people, they don't have very long to look at your stuff. So the more stuff you have, the less things they may see, and also the more overwhelming your table may appear. And some people are less likely to approach tables if they look really busy, because they're just overwhelming to take everything in. Also, there are definitely people that go to events like this, especially these book events where a lot of us are introverted, where you may not want to approach a table unless you are 100% sure you plan on purchasing something or talking to somebody. And so if you make your table really overwhelming, where somebody has to walk up to it to read things, to decide, they may not approach you at all. So keep it simple, keep your signs simple, clearly show what you're all about, what you write, and make sure that whatever you're doing, consider the cost, because you don't want to put all of your books on a banner, because then you may be reprinting and repurchasing that banner several times a year if you publish books several times a year. So keep it simple, consider long-term, and consider your vibes. Another fun way to entice people to come to your table, and something that you could promote ahead of time, is giving something of value away for free. That can be, I've seen this done. Maybe you print teeny tiny cards, real professional looking, like a business card, and it has a QR code to a free ebook. That would be super enticing to people, get people to come over to your table. And even if it's just something they can pick up and walk off with, it's something they may come back to later after the event, something they can get for free after the event, and also maybe a hook for them so that they continue reading other books that you have written. So you may make a sale days, months after the actual event by providing something of value for free. Again, these can be things like that, the QR code for a free book, a free bookmark. I do the free bookmarks very often. I sign them. I also have done book plates. I love doing book plates because people can take them, and then if they decide to purchase in the future, then they automatically have a signed book that they can stick the book plate into, so that they have a personalized item, whether they get the book from that actual event or purchase it at a later time for themselves. You could also do, I've seen pins. Pins are really fun. I've seen blind books where people wrap up books if they have maybe a bunch of standalones, and they put like sneak peeks written on the outside, like billionaire romance or whatever it may be. It's just really fun. It's exciting to readers to purchase things like that. It's also really different, so you may stand out in a room full of people for having some of these off-the-wall ideas. Keychains, sunglasses, who knows what it is. I actually have thought about buying teeny tiny plastic ducks for my Winter Witches series, because every single sister in that series has a Jeep of a different color, and something really common to do is to duck Jeeps. And I thought it would be a fun connection to that book to get like bright pink ducks, something that you could take and maybe put on your Jeep, or just something to relate to the book. So don't be afraid to think of something really off the wall. Consider the cost and the benefits, and definitely crunch the numbers, because some freebies may actually end up costing you more than the investment you get back. So consider that. Some other things I just personally can't live without. I have been to some events that have been outdoors. And if you are also planning to go, or may eventually go to an outdoor event, I would highly encourage you to consider getting a canopy, like a canopy tent. They also make these so you can personalize them from places like Vistaprint. If you want to get like a branded tent with your name on it, you could do that. But I would consider getting this because it covers you from the elements, covers your books from the elements and the sun and the heat. And you can also hang things from these canopies. So I have seen people do lights on their canopies. If the event goes into the night, it's eye-catching, it draws people's attention, and people can see immediately where you are. It also just provides you light that you will likely need for things when you're like signing books or doing purchases. It's nice. It can also be, for me, a place I can hang neon signs, which is a part of my branding, which is super fun and unique. I can hang my Amy Prokopis signs on them and other things that may tell people what I'm all about. Also, consider how you are going to get your books to events. If you're going to an event in another state, some events we will allow you to ship books to them and will store them for you. Some events may not. So that may be an extra cost to you to ship your books there personally, or to, I don't know, tuck them in another suitcase and carry it onto a plane, which will add, of course, cost to your trip. So consider that. Something I did recently was I purchased a rolling tote, a plastic tote, because I went to an event one time where in order to get into the building, I had to cross a street, and that particular day it rained. And I ended up wrapping all of my stuff up in trash bags, which worked, but was a little uncomfortable to transport for myself walking across the street in a pair of heels. So this time around, I purchased a plastic tote with wheels, so everything is waterproofed and I could roll it across the street. And also I can store the plastic tote super easily in my house. So that was a nice hack. Of course, you can get dollies, other kinds of carts. There's a lot of different options, but definitely consider the long-term benefits. So like if you ever plan on potentially doing an outdoor event, I would definitely consider waterproof elements, because you never know, and heaven forbid all of your book stock gets rained on or damaged in some way. So I would just take precautions ahead of time so that you don't spend money later that maybe you could have avoided spending early on in the process. All right, I think that's all of my updates. Like I said, what I'm planning on purchasing for myself, what I really want to purchase is I want to get an Amy Prokopis table runner. I may also get a retractable banner, but what I would really like to get is one of those great big backdrops for behind me. I just think they would be super fun to have, and also compact. And I think it would really streamline my table decor so that I could have less on my table. So that is what I am considering. I hope this was super interesting. I said it before, comment down below your thoughts, things that you've considered. If there's something I didn't mention in this video that might be important to consider, or things that would be fun to include, drop it in the comment section. Let me know. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe below if you are not already. Read books, be kind. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Oh my